We're back with another Velocity Sellers Showdown where we pit two e-commerce geniuses head to head on a variety of different topics surrounding the Amazon, TikTok, AI, e-commerce world. If you agree or disagree with anything these two have to say, please leave a comment down below. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on any of the following questions. Welcome to the main event. We've got two e-commerce heavyweights stepping into the ring to debate a few questions that we have prepared surrounding the topic of e-commerce, things going on in the world, AI, tariffs, and all the such. And I'm excited to introduce you all to both of them and to get this showdown underway.
Hey everybody, Jay Hunter, well known in the space for Amazon, TikTok, marketing skills. I've been in the space about 20 years. Excited to be here.
And in this corner,
What's going on, folks? John Aspinall here, self-proclaimed CTR GOAT, focused on anything and everything, click-through rate, merchandising, creative optimization, all that kind of goodness.
I don't know about self-proclaimed. I think it's community proclaims. Go, brothers.
gentlemen, welcome to the second Velocity Showdown. Jay and John.
Thanks for having us.
What's going on?
It's a pleasure to have you.
It's an honor. It's an honor and a privilege, sir.
Stole my words right out of my mouth. Stole the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say, to have you both here. So, Jay and John are both very prevalent in the Amazon, e-commerce, TikTok, LinkedIn space, however you want to describe it. So, we're excited to have them here to answer these questions and to really get into some deep level strategy, some deep level debate. Again, I'm very much hoping for a disagreement. I think there will be some. I'm excited to see you both argue your points, fight it out. So, right on to the first question. Again, for those of you joining us who don't know how this works, I will ask John and Jay a question. They will write it down. They will each get about a minute or so to defend their point, and we will go from there. So pretty simple debate style. First question right away. What is one way sellers should avoid using AI in 2026? What is one way sellers should avoid using AI in 2026? There's a couple different things I think could be answered here. I'm excited to see both of your answers, but all right, let's start with John. John, what do you got?
SEO.
Okay, all right. And Jay, before we elaborate, let John elaborate there. Jay?
I'm coming from a very compliance-heavy category, so I would say compliance.
Okay. John, SEO, talk to me about that. You mean just creating keywords for you, research?
There's too many times I see people that are going and using ChatGPT and saying, write me the title, write me my bullet points, write me the description, and all that stuff, and copying and pasting it without looking at market data and actual analytics outside of what ChatGPT is just going to hallucinate and throw at you. And it doesn't always mean that it might visually look okay for writing titles and bullet points, but it might not be performing as well on an SEO end for organic rank and search and that kind of thing. So that's one thing I always tell people to steer clear of. Stick to data tools for those kind of things, because at the end of the day, a title on Amazon, as long as you're getting to the point of what it is in the first couple of words, the tail end of it is just stuff that's there for keywords. We all understand and know that, right? No one's looking at the tail end of a title to really boost what they're clicking on to see if it's really that. So,
all right. And Jay, any thoughts on that?
No, I think I'm in slight agreement, right? I
Dang
think
it.
you do have to be creative about the title. Yeah, I think hopefully John and I will disagree on some things, but I think here, like, I do agree. Like, you can't just copy paste a ChatGPT title or bullets for an Amazon listing, right? There's some component of conversion, and then also some component of, like, what do the data tools say are the most important keywords, and in like what priority order. So.
And Jay, for your answer specifically, compliance, are you saying that you shouldn't use AI to check if your product is compliant, or?
Yeah, I think just for the copy, right? Like what kind of claims you can make around the product that might be compliant, or, what keywords are allowed, or like what boundaries you can push. I do find, like, AI is still a little bit slow to the draw to know, like, what are the latest rules. And sometimes it, does hallucinate what it thinks the rules are, which I think can be problematic. And if it's on Amazon, compliance is such a big piece. If your listing's down for even a day or multiple days, it can be a huge loss and quite difficult to fix. So I think for compliance, you got to be very diligent about having whether it's your compliance team or your lawyers, make sure like what you're saying in the copy you're allowed to say, and also is going to be Amazon compliant.
Right. Okay. This next one, I think, will throw a little curveball at you. If you were a feudal lord, who would you pledge fealty to? Amazonia or Tiktokistan? Think in medieval times, you have a vast amount of land, maybe some knights under you. Who are you swearing loyalty to? What kingdom are you supporting? Jay, what do we got?
I'm going to Amazonia.
Okay, over Tiktokistan.
I think,
Okay.
I think, I was born in Amazonia, so I think I've gotta, stay loyal. Yeah, I also just think like, it's still a very concrete channel,
Mhm.
right? Like the longevity of the channel is, I think very proven at this stage. I think for TikTok, you're still a new channel. I'm still very bullish on it, but
Mhm.
it's got a ways to go before I would give it the, same weight as like an Amazon channel. I think even when you're thinking about doing other things like going into retail, Amazon still carries like more weight and support. You're looking to exit your business, like Amazon has a little bit more validation to it. So I think for those reasons, I pick Amazon for sure. Amazonia.
Amazonia. And John, are you in the same kingdom or are you in Tiktokistan?
I'm in
Also
Amazonia.
with the
I'm
arrow.
shocked Jay didn't pick Tiktokistan, to be quite honest with you. But no, like that's the thing, right? Amazon is the bread and butter. People always say, with platforms like Walmart or Target, that there's no brand that's ever launched on Walmart or launched on Target, but there are brands that are launched on Amazon and then propel from there. I will say, like, TikTok is getting there, but in the realm of the not so sexy, not really demonstrable everyday things, you're not seeing that on TikTok, right?
Mhm.
Like, you're not seeing a TikTok live stream where someone's running the thing 24 hours a day, talking about dog pee pads.
Right.
At least not yet, right? Or they're not talking about loose leaf paper or pencils and things like that. So I think Amazonia is still king.
Okay. I thought that was going to be the case. We like to throw a little fun one in there for you. That was courtesy of our
I love it.
executive producer, Darab and Jake. So, moving on though to again, I mentioned in the beginning, you guys are really big in the e-commerce space. You've been on a lot of different teams. You've managed some different teams. What do you both think is, or what should I say? What's the most essential hire on an e-commerce team? What's the most essential hire on an e-commerce team? Sort of a broad question, a little bit of a broader one, but something that we.
Like for an agency, for a brand, for
I'm going to say for a brand. Our audience is mostly sellers. So imagine a brand, they started it, they're doing really good. They're looking to hire their first employee. What type of employee should they be focusing on? What department?
Oh, this one's very tough.
I imagine if your assistants are nearby, you'd want to say an assistant. Same thing. It's like, oh, who's your favorite person? And your wife's standing next to you. It's like, oh, of course, it's my wife. So, all right, we're gonna switch it up here for the fourth question. Let's have you both show your answers at the same time. All right, what do we got? A
I've
growth
got growth manager.
manager, and
Yeah.
John went with COO.
COO, or if you're talking more entry level, operations. Because I think at the end of the day, you can hire everyone else, but if you don't have the policies, procedures, the operations in place, I think everything else is going to fall apart.
And Jay, you went with growth managers. It sounds like it's almost similar to what John is kind of
No, I would
saying,
say
but
it's pretty much the exact opposite,
oh,
right?
here we go.
It's
Disagree.
it's a person that like their only job is to grow sales for the e-com channels, whether it's Amazon or Shopify or TikTok. Their job is to make the operation person's job very difficult, right? They want to be selling things so fast that the operation team sort of has to catch up. I'm a big break things and then fix them later type of guy. So I do think, John's going what I would say is like probably the more correct route, and conservative route. But I think for me, like the hardest thing to do is to grow fast, and explode a brand. And so like I think that's the place you want to start.
You're saying John's going the safe route, and you're being a little bit more adventurous. Is that what I'm? That's kind of what I'm hearing here.
That's what I,
I'm very much the kind of I don't like to gamble. I don't like to take. I'm not a big risk taker.
You're a
So for
Celtics
me,
fan, so you can't really gamble much. No, I'm kidding.
whatever, pal. We don't want to talk about it. But my thing is, it would keep me up at night, and I know that that's like Jay's thing, where it's like let's grow sales and break it and figure it out later. I would have a conniption and be shaking in the corner from high sales with no policies or procedures in place and figuring out afterwards. So I think I disagree, but I think there's all different kinds of ways to be successful and everyone has their path, right?
Hmm. Okay. I like it. I like it. Both very, where you said different paths here to take. So very interesting. So kind of on that as well. This might be a good question then for both of you. Moving on to a little bit more of cash flow style things. What is the number one thing brands waste money on? Either in the early stages, either in the late stage. What's the number one thing brands waste money on?
Try to think holistically.
Right now, that's a broad category here because again, you have mom and pop shops, you've got multi-million-dollar businesses and stuff like that. So, all right, gentlemen, let's see what we got.
Same time?
Same time.
Yeah, I said
Jay
brand.
went with the brand. John,
I went with not testing.
not
testing
testing.
anything that they launch. I call Five Below, the mistake, bad decision warehouse.
Right.
So Five Below, if you've ever been in Five Below, you'll go and see branded items in there from Disney, Hasbro, all these big things. But in actuality, when you look at it and you think, oh my God, that's that, Disney Hasbro toy that's in Target for $24. How is it in here for $5? But when you get closer, you realize it's that one obscure character from the movie that no one really likes that they couldn't move at Target that got liquidated for pennies on the dollar. So I think there's an immense amount of loss and money that's burned from not testing. Yeah.
And Jay, you said brand. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I think a brand would want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it actually it goes a little bit with what John is saying here, right? It's like just a lot of brands, and I said brand because it's a little bit all encompassing, but like too much money on like a big brand campaign or too much investment around like a brand creative before they really know, like, there's what the brand thinks the brand is, and then there's what the customers think the brand is, and like without testing and learning, and breaking some things, a lot of brands I think invest too much in like those campaigns or the creative for the brand
Right.
before they fully understand the customer or their market fit, right? And so I think not testing enough sort of runs right into that. And I see that quite often. I think that's the number one place. That and wasted advertising spend, but different topic.
Moving on to again, these are all kind of chained together. They're all very similar here. But what is the most underrated growth strategy? It could be from this year. It could be something that you're expecting to see next year. But what is the most underrated growth strategy? Again, and this is a very broad, encompassing question, but one word answer, and then we'll get you some elaboration going on in there.
Underrated.
Underrated. Some of the other LinkedIn people might say you're a fool for suggesting that. Other e-commerce businesses might say, there's no way I'm going to do that. It doesn't make any sense. All right. Gentlemen, what do we got?
Mine was very general, but I think before I show it, I think that I'll just show it here. Good.
Cold calling.
Cold call.
Okay, that's
I
good.
love that.
That's good. And Jay, I'm
Out of home
out of home.
marketing. Yeah.
Okay,
Which I think I'll get some heat for.
maybe.
But yeah, I
But-
mean, I think for me, there's still, and again, it's not going to be, direct conflict with what John's talking about, but I think some of the old school in the trenches tactics still work very well, right? So like, I don't advise, a lot of new brands to spend a ton of money on out of home marketing, which might be, billboards or bus wraps, or these types of things. But I do think like when you use them strategically, right? Like if you want to get into Walmart, you should buy every billboard in Bentonville for a month, and like really go hard. And I think there's still like a lot of very strategic ways you can use it to, reach some of your goals, whether that's Walmart retail or something else. Like out of home can still be very impactful if you have a big TikTok campaign or Amazon campaign. It's a good way to do product launches. And I think today, like, a lot of these things go in cycles, but I would say out of home's like pretty affordable right now because a lot of brands are leaning out and leaning into, Meta TikTok.
Right.
So
Right, you're going more
Yeah,
digital.
no. So my thing is, I think it's really coming full cycle that tactics that were considered the norm and then taboo 10 years ago. So it went from like door to door, then telephone, then, text message, then email, then video email, then, UGC video.
Mhm.
So it's now coming full circle where I'm seeing a lot of agencies, brands, picking up the phone and calling someone because it's not the norm right now, right? People aren't expecting someone to call with a value prop. And if it's good, right, and you're not just saying, hi, I'm here to blah, 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 right? Think of it from a service provider, think of it from a branding perspective. If you want to get into a big box retail store,
Mhm.
maybe that person is not going to answer your email because it's a million different emails. But if you get the right person on the phone and have a meaningful message with them, I really feel it's going back around.
Interesting. We'll have to try that. I'll start calling some people randomly and just see if that tests your theory there. So,
You have to have thick skin for that. You got to
oh
go
yeah,
into it knowing a 99 out of 100 going to hang up in your face, but you just got to keep on.
keep on trucking. Keep on trucking. Going back a little bit, unfortunately, from away from both of those answers, going back into a bit of the paid media, we've seen a lot of the rise of, you do Google ads, you do Facebook ads, social ads in general, but we want to find the best one. So, which paid ad channel, like the ones I mentioned, Google or Meta, should you be investing the heaviest into for profitable sales growth in 2026?
Just those two or any?
Any paid sort of media channel, maybe outside of Amazon. I'm going to also say that you can't say TikTok. It's like that's an easy answer. I'm going to say aside from Amazon and TikTok, which paid media channel should you be investing in for profitable sales growth in 2026?
Haha, Jay, you can't say TikTok.
That's a bit of a nerf.
I wasn't gonna pick. Even if I could pick TikTok, I would not.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, let's see what you both decided to go with. John, what did you say? The same time here. Jay with Meta, John with Reddit. Very interesting. I want to hear this one first. I got you. Reddit. Reddit ads. I do see them sometimes. You think they're the next big thing, or they're the current
I
big thing?
think I think they're currently underutilized and they're going to be a lot bigger really soon because Reddit is the raw internet. Reddit is where if you really want to know if your product is good or not and it lands on Reddit in a subreddit or in whatever it is,
Mhm.
there is no filter, there's just raw exactly what it is. And when people want to know about a product, sure, you can look at the reviews on Amazon, Walmart here and there, but if you really want to know how people feel, they're going to look at Reddit. And for me, it's very, very purpose driven. And I don't know the numbers on like the ROI, but I feel like it's a lot more uh, cost effective with the positioning of like the ICP versus something like Google.
Okay, I could see it in a very specific targeting of where you can put your products versus, if people are searching for baby things or if they're in baby subreddits or parenting subreddits, you target them with baby products. Okay, I like that. And Jay, you said Meta. Is that a similar thought to what John is going with, or is this just because Meta is the meta?
Yeah, I think it's still, the largest engine to drive awareness for any brand, right? I think TikTok's catching up, but I still think like having a huge meta engine with like a big content engine behind that is still like the number one way to scale a brand today. I will say the one caveat is like I would be trying to max out my Google and Amazon like search advertising, especially around keywords like objectively my brand deserves to win.
Mhm.
But I think if I really wanted to scale, I'd spend like a lot of time and effort on just building like a really large content engine so I could pump a lot of ads that I can A/B test in Meta. And I still think Meta has like the largest scalability. So
I just hate when people say meta only because like just say what you mean, right? If it's Facebook, say Facebook. If it's Instagram, say Instagram. I know it's the same thing, but I think a lot of people get bogged down is when they hear like run ads on Meta. But what they don't realize is that your product might suck on Instagram because that's not where the ICP is, but might do well on Facebook. So I think when people hear Meta, they think I'm going to run it everywhere where Meta has it, and they don't get really hyper targeted on this is going to perform better on Facebook than it is Instagram.
Mm.
yeah, if I was gonna lean in into like a sub meta channel, it would be Instagram for sure, like almost 100%. But like you said, it does matter what kind of brand you have, right? If you have like a little bit older demographic, I might lean in even harder on Facebook, right? So I do think for most brands though, Instagram is what I really mean.
Oh,
I
okay.
do think there's some component of Facebook being like a great channel. Yeah.
I would have thought I thought you were talking about Facebook more than Instagram. It's interesting. You think Instagram is the bigger driver.
Yeah.
See,
I still think
isn't
so.
that why
It's a
it's
little
better not to say Meta and just say I'm just
might give
kidding.
John
I'm
a
just
point
but
there.
like
No one's keeping
No, no, I
points. I
love it.
am a little bit, but I might give John a point there. It is somewhat confusing, but he did say Reddit, so I might also take that point back. Anyway, um,
dude,
the
Reddit's gonna be the GOAT for 2026. Watch.
we'll
You're
see.
gonna
We'll
see
have to
Jay
have you back on
Jay on
in a
LinkedIn's
year.
gonna be in 6 months talking about blowing up on Reddit.
This is next topic. Kind of on that next topic, we talked a little bit about demographics there, which is great. A little ICP discussion. So, what do you both think on demographics? What is the biggest friction point in the customer journey today? Again, thinking strictly primarily e-commerce customer. What do you think is the biggest friction point in the customer journey? Alrighty. 3, 2, 1. Let's see them.
Minus choice.
Choice. Okay. John?
Price.
Hmm. Let's talk about price. Let's get into price. You think things are too expensive? Is it the economy? I don't want to get banned on YouTube for talking about things that they're going to shut me down for, but you think it's the economy?
So I think price is very generalized, meaning you could, yes, if you're not the cheapest, that's a friction point. But it's okay not to be the cheapest as long as your product price and your product is positioned for that pricing. I feel like there's a big disconnect and a lot of people don't connect the dots where, they see themselves, I have to be more expensive because of tariffs, because of manufacturing and stuff like that. But that sometimes it's okay to not always be the cheapest, but if the price and if the listing and the graphics and the whole feel don't reflect that price point, I feel like that's a friction point where if someone can read through very clearly, you're just more expensive just because you want to charge more. You're not giving me more value. You're not telling me more. I think that brands don't associate their branding and their content and the education back to that price point. And I think that's a big friction point.
And Jay, you talked about, or you wrote down choice. Is that saying there's too many choices in the market? Or is that people are struggling to pick the best one?
Yeah, I think the number one struggle brands have that, then relates to the customer is just, there's so many options, right? Like at any price point, you can find 5 products that are relatively similar and do relatively the same thing. And like brands have a very difficult time conveying like why one customer should buy, one product or the other. And I think sometimes like it's actually sometimes there isn't a great reason, right? So I think customers just have like so many options, so many channels to shop from, so many places to consume their content, so many different price points to shop at, or even at those price points, so many different products. Like it's just like tough these days for the customer to know, like, it used to be a time where you could go on Amazon and just be like, okay, I want the best spatula. And it was like clear that the best selling product was likely the best spatula.
Mhm.
Just like today, that's like no longer that obvious. And I think it's like very difficult for customers to know, like, is this the best product for me? Is this exactly what I need? So I think choice is just like a tough one right now.
Okay. We're talking now on looking back at the year in 2025. What has been the best and worst use of your time on a given day? What has been the best and worst use of your time on a given day? Alrighty. I know you got 2 answers. It's kind of a two-part question here.
Well, is it okay if both my answers are the same thing?
Yeah, that makes it fun. Makes it
Yeah.
exciting. We can do that. What do you got? What do we both got here?
It's very funny because I have the same answer essentially. I can't see John's answer yet, but I think for me it's meetings is the answer to both. Productivity
Productivity
apps.
apps.
Okay. Yeah.
Both good. Okay,
It's
so what productivity app, Sean, are you using that is the best and worst time of your day, and why is that the case?
I think it's because for me, I'm hyper focused on how to be more productive, how to take my 24 hours and get the max out of them.
Mhm.
But I also am self aware that I have shiny object syndrome. So the minute I get something I like and I'm on it for a month or two, something else comes out and I'm on to the next one and seeing how that's better. So for me, it's the best thing because when it works, it saves so much time, energy, focus because I don't have to worry about it. But it's also the worst thing because The minute something else, a new AI pops up over here and does this and does that, then I have shiny object syndrome and I get distracted. But I will say though, just dropping this here, Todoist is the one app that I've kept for the last 6 months straight, and for me, that's a record. I think I couldn't live without that tool.
Reach out to sponsor the podcast. No. Always got to plug that in there. Yeah. But okay. So that makes sense. I also am a victim of shiny object syndrome. It's my own fault. So I'm a victim and a cause, or I guess, of it. So I get that. And Jay, you said meetings. Is that a dig at somebody in particular at your company, or is that just in general?
No, I think just in general, right? Like, nothing beats a great meeting
Right.
where like agenda's solid, you get some stuff done, you move something forward, you solve an issue that was taking 20 emails to figure out. Like, nothing better than a meeting like that, but also nothing worse than a meeting with no agenda that could have been an email,
Yep.
right? So, like, I think for me, this happens at every business, even if I was consulting somewhere or a business I've been at, but like, yeah, I think like you want to have a good culture around meetings. You want to have meetings when you need them to get stuff done. And like that's about the only time, right? Like you want to be solving problems when you're on the phone. I think just today in like very remote environment, it's easy to get caught up of just wanting to be on the phone because you get a little bit less, one-on-one time or time with the team. But I do think like you got to try to keep the meetings to be like very efficient, very productive, because otherwise, slows everyone down. Nothing worse than being on the phone for 8 hours and then having to do your normal work.
Right.
So
Okay.
I agree, and I was just watching a podcast yesterday. Everyone loves or likes or knows Gary Vaynerchuk, but at VaynerMedia, he talked about the standard is a 15-minute meeting. He's like, if there has to be a meeting, it's 15 minutes because you only have 15 minutes. Get in, get out. Everything is actionable. There's no 40-minute meetings. There's no sitting around waiting. It's go.
Gary V. I've never heard his full name before. I don't think his full government, as the kids say.
Well,
But
it's a personal friend of mine. I got to give him
right,
respect.
friend of the show, Gary V. All right, this one's a little bit more. This next question's a little bit more in depth. It's going to require you to think very heavily. There's going to be a lot of critical thinking here, so just get ready. I'll give you some more time to think about this one. If you could own Jeff Bezos's yacht or spaceship, which would it be?
Oh, I think that one is easy.
Jay's got a solid answer. I think John and Jay might disagree here, but if they do agree, I think it'll be for the same reason.
I know Jay's about that. I know what kind of lifestyle Jay's about, so I know what he's going to say.
All right, let's
There
see
you
both
go.
of your answers. Jay and Jay.
I said, yeah.
All right, and John went with spaceship. Now, Jay, why the yacht? Why does John think he knows your lifestyle? What is he talking about?
Honestly, like I'm not really a big boat or water guy, but I just think a yacht's a lot more practical. Even if you own the spaceship, how often are you going to take it to space?
Right.
Probably not that frequently. So think you could wine and dine a few more people if you have the yacht.
Okay. Okay. And John, are you thinking about wining and dining people on the way to outer orbit?
I'm bringing that to the most local astronaut-friendly chop shop, and I'm selling that spaceship, and I am taking all the money, and I think a spaceship is much more valuable in the pawn shop mentality than a yacht. So I'm going to take the spaceship and I'm going to run away with the money, and I'll probably get a yacht equal to the one he has, and then have money left over too. So
Wow. Interesting. Okay. We asked this question at
you
Innovate, and
never
we got
said
a
I
lot of
couldn't
that
sell it.
response. That's true.
Never
I
said
should have learned.
I just wasn't sure there was any spaceship chop shops. So
Right. They have to go to
Staten
Elon.
Island, we got two.
You have to
So
tweet at Elon and say, "Hey, Elon, I got Jeff Bezos' spaceship. Do you want to buy it from me?" Maybe he'll come through and go for it. So, but okay. It's we like to mix in the fun ones a little bit. So we like to mix in the fun ones here or there. Going back a little bit to the beginning, looking back to the start of a new brand, if you both had to restart, let's say, what would be the best category to start from scratch and launch a new e-commerce brand today? What category? I'm going to steal these ideas and launch them myself. So, full disclosure here. That was part of the agreement you signed, that I can use all these tips for my own brands. So,
hey man, it's your ad spend.
it's true. All right, one-word answers. What do we got here? What categories are we thinking of starting e-commerce brands in? Skincare and beauty. So pretty close enough. I'm going to say VMS stands for something that I'm not aware of.
Just vitamin supplements. I think
Okay.
I had sort of two answer, right? Vitamin supplements or beauty. I just think in skincare falls in here, but these are like the categories that are like the last bastions of great margin,
hmm
right? So I think the margins are just really great, which allows you to do a lot of fun stuff on the marketing and product side.
John, similar thoughts?
We're gonna go with the judges on this. I think Jay's disqualified putting 2 answers there, so I think just deduct 2 from.
And or, and or. It was in there.
No, I said I think we're in the same vein of thinking. I said skincare, right? And I think Jay also says similar with like supplements because you can make it in America, right?
hmm
When you start to talk about things that have to be overseas, the hurdle is big. Tariffs,
Right.
this, that, the third, shipping, freight time on water. It's just it makes more sense, and the fact that it's recurring, it's
hmm
consumable. People are going to buy it again. There's a lot more opportunities. I was always in the realm of you want to sell a need item, not a want item. And I'm still in that vein of thinking, right? When you look at launching something, is it a need or is it a want? And in this economy, if it's not a need, it's a want, and people will not always buy. If it's their last $50 and it's something they need and something they want, it's always going to be something they need.
Right. All right. Well, it looks like I'm going to start a bearded something moisturizer for us here since we've all got beards here. That'll be perfect. It'll be my first. Actually, you guys can be the face of it if you want. I'll give you each 20%. We'll call that there. All right.
You're going to be broke from selling beard oil. There's a million people doing
Yeah,
that.
but there's no one like Velocity Pete selling beard oil. So that's one of the things that we're talking about here. So kind of talking on that, looking at the loyalty of customers of fighting for their loyalty. Going back to the feudal lord question, the loyalty to your brand or to your kingdom. How do you turn a one-time buyer into a loyal repeat customer? How do you turn a one-time buyer into a loyal repeat customer?
Could have had two answers again on this one, but
All right.
I think I got one.
I might have to actually consider disqualifying you a little bit here. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I got one. I just put one. I just put
All
one
right.
this
All
time.
right. Good. All right. What do we got? What two answers do you have, Jay?
I have product on this one.
Product and unboxing. Okay. Product is a broad term, but I know I asked for one-word answers, so I walked into that myself. But what do you mean by essentially by the product, the way it?
I think 50% of retention or loyalty for any brand is how good is your product? Does it work and do the things you said it does, right? So I think like making a great product is half the battle. I think the other half is what John's going to speak to next, which is like the experience of the product and how you take care of the customer.
Okay. And John, you said the unboxing, which, truth be told, again, as someone with you said shiny object syndrome, I do like a good unboxing. So talk to me a little bit about that.
So imagine if you have 2 soaps that you purchased on Amazon and they both work equally as well with cleaning you. They're both really great. One comes in a brown cardboard box and one is an experience and it's very giftable and you open it. It's a magnetic enclosure. It says something about it. It just feels good. You're going to go with that one again because you had a good unboxing experience. My wife orders on Amazon. It's literally like my house is a 3PL. There's so many packages outside every single time. I have to leave a bottle of like Advil outside for the Amazon worker because their back is on fire probably. But every time she opens up something and it's a good experience, she tells me about it and then she looks at the brand further because of the experience versus if it was just an okay outfit or an okay accessory, she would like it, but she wouldn't go back to that brand again. But when she has a good experience, she's going to go back specifically because she likes the feeling. It's that retail therapy that people love.
hmm And a lot of people that like to shop just for the sake of shopping.
I
Um,
hate shopping, dude. I
I
hate
also
it.
am
I
not a
hate
fan.
it. If I go to malls with my wife, I start sweating. I look all over. I don't want to be around
Right.
people shopping. Listen, I want to yell in the middle of the store. You could do all this online. What are you
Right.
people doing here? It's a waste of time.
You're a mall husband. You have mall husband syndrome.
I'll hold the
That's
purse.
yeah.
I'm good.
There you go. You sit
It's
down
funny
and
because my family, we have a tradition. We're going to the mall on Black Friday
yeah.
just for the vibes,
I
I
can't
do miss
do
that.
it.
I will say. We were talking earlier about how things come full circle. I think Johnny said now we're back to cold calling. I actually do see a lot of people at the local mall. Um,
For sure.
and not to go on a branch here on a blurb, but the temperatures down here. I don't know. I live in Orlando, and when I lived in Texas, the same thing. it's so hot during the summer that all you do is you get in your air conditioned car, you drive over to the mall, you do your steps around the mall, you get a walk in around the mall. Our old landlords used to get 4 miles a day just walking around the mall. So they're
Love it.
important for some
Are you
reason.
are you just rubbing it in as I'm sitting here with a vest on, freezing in an office in New York City?
A little bit.
Thanks.
A little bit, you know. We went to Disney yesterday. That's how easy it is for us to get down there. It's just yeah. Alrighty. To finish off on a bang, to finish off on again another big topic. We're on the precipice of 2026. We're about a month out. And like I said, AI has been the dominant tool, the dominant topic this year. The most topical thing, the most topical topic. We're headed into 2026. What do you guys both think? What is the most important way to use AI in 2026? Doesn't have to be for any particular goal. Doesn't have to be for specifically for sales, but in the e-commerce business, in the e-commerce world, what is the most important way to use AI in 2026? All right, final answers here. What do we got?
Mine is creative.
And John went with images. Okay. Before I let you get into your answers, we had discussed kind of earlier about how AI is not good for bullets and for titles specifically. So word facing creative, so to speak, to put it into category. So why do you both think that images and digital things that you can see more so than you can read are what AI is going to be excelling in, or what is the most important part of it? Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I think on my side, I'm big all around the board on AI for like amplification, right? Not for replacement. That's how I always view it. I just think for like what you need to be successful today, at scale is like a really large content engine. I think there's just like a lot of ways to use AI to sort of amplify that, right? Whether it's giving you more ideas on what hooks you can have for the product, what the product's USPs are, or how you can convey those, or it can do things like generate product images. It's a little bit better even, I would say, or faster at like replicating product image use, and I think that's a great strategy. You should just find who's doing best in your category and copy some of their best performing, static meta ads
Yeah.
and make them slightly better. AI is really good at that, but it can also do like minor video edits and stuff like that. As long as you're not trying to create pure AI content, which I don't think is as good, I think AI is like a big amplifier of creative, like all around.
I like that. Okay. And John, is that where you were going? Or are you starting from scratch with your AI images?
So I'll disagree a little bit, just a little bit, because Jay's coming from big brands, big bucks, big budgets. We could do all these kind of shoots and stuff, and I'm thinking more of the more SMBs up and coming. I don't have 10, 20 grand for a photo shoot.
Hmm.
We're living in the real times right now. We're living in the time where you can have a coffee cup, that your branded coffee cup, on your desk, and you could take that and you could put that in a lifestyle image. You can put that in a Google VO 3.1 video. Now, and it looks real, but I will, with the caveat of editing. So
Hmm.
editing, anything AI with creative as is just garbage in, garbage out. So when it comes to like VO 3.1 video that Google is killing it at right now, it all comes down to the editing, because it's outputting 8 seconds, right? But maybe only 3 seconds of that are believable. So when the power really comes from editing. So now when you're taking those 3 seconds, editing it with another 3 seconds, and then making a whole vibe and feel, that's where it really excels. But no, we've never lived in a time before where you were able to do that, where you literally have, anyone holding a product, doing a product. It's unreal.
It is very scary. I see a lot of AI videos on Twitter that I don't realize they're AI unless there's a community note, and it concerns me greatly. I'm actually one of the doomers that thinks AI is going to take over the world. I'm in that loony bin.
Oh,
So
you big fan of AGI coming soon?
no,
Oh.
no. I see that, like I said, I see the Nana Banana, or not Nana Banana, whatever Google's thing is, the Banana Nano, and
No, Nano Banana Pro's out.
right,
Yep.
right. It's a little scary, and so yeah, that's interesting that you both said that. You're both contributing to the end of the world. Thank you so much on that side. So, all right. But on a podcast side, gentlemen, thank you both for, again, stepping into the ring, for debating, going head to head a little bit. I appreciate the discussions. I appreciate the answers, and we really appreciate the information. So thank you both for coming on the Velocity Sellers Showdown.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
I'll have both Jay and John's LinkedIn down below. Make sure to give them a connect, a follow, send them a message, tell them you say hi, whatever you want to do. Follow them, like their posts, boost their skills, whatever else you do on LinkedIn. And thank you all for watching. I'm your host, Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.